Abishai gets the army together, the men, and then Joab and his men follow, even after being put down the way he had been by Amasa and now by Abishai, by the king. Joab was always kind of fighting against the king throughout the era, we see, and as he killed men in peacetime that he shouldn't have. But there went out after him Joab's men, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and all the mighty men, and they went out of Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. So all these troops now are going out. Well, what's happened to Amasa and his troops? When they were at the great stone, which is in Gibeon, Amasa went before them, and Joab's garments that he had put on was girded about him. Upon it was a girdle with a sword fastened upon his loins, and the sheath thereof. So we see now that they have gotten there, and Amasa catches up with them. He catches up with the troops, and he comes up like he's the leader, and like he's going to lead. And so I'm going to look here, and you can't see it very well, but show you kind of where they're coming out of the area here at Jerusalem and heading towards the valley. And so they get out here towards Gilgal, and that's north of the Dead Sea, but below the Sea of Galilee, or Chinnereth. And so this is where they meet. They come together there, and they meet all these mighty men that are pursuing after Sheba the son of Bichri at Gibeon. And Amasa went before them. So Amasa was leading these, and now Joab's garment, he comes up and he's got this garment about him and his sword sheath, and it says his sword, the end of verse 8, and as he went forth it fell out. His sword fell out, his knife, and that was no accident, by the way. That was planned by Joab, because he was going to catch Amasa off guard, so he takes Amasa like he's in charge and he's his friend and all this, and so he's going to greet him. How do you greet him? You grab him by the beard and you kiss them. That's the friendship way that they greeted one another. Now he did that with, I believe, with Abner when he killed him, and here with Amasa he comes up to him. Well, the sword fell out. Well, he just kind of reached down and picks the thing up as he grabs his beard to kiss him in friendship. And Amasa was completely taken, not ready at all for this. Joab says to Amasa, in verse 9, "Art thou in health, my brother?" I mean, a greeting. Are you doing okay? Like, oh, it's good to see you again. And he takes him, and Joab took Amasa by the beard with the right hand to kiss him. But his sword was in his left hand, wasn't it? And so you see what he's doing here. That would be the proper way to greet one another in peace with a kiss. But Amasa took no heed to the sword that was in Joab's hand, so he smote him therewith in the fifth rib and shed out his bowels to the ground, struck him not again, and he died. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, pursued after Sheba, the son of Bichri. And so now they've got rid of Amasa, so he's no longer a leader. And of course, he was a leader of the opposition party, so to speak, during David's son's reign, and the leadership of Absalom. But now Amasa's out of the way, and one of Job's men stood by him and said, here he's on, he says, "Okay, let's go get Sheba, and we're taking off." And people didn't follow him. And one of Joab's men stood by him and said, "He that favoreth Joab, and he that is for David, let him go after Joab." But Amasa, I mean, you talk about, this is pretty brutal stuff when you read this, isn't it? This is real life. This is things that really happen in life. It's gotten we're in the age today where everybody plays games all their life. They're growing up playing war games and all this stuff, and you can kill somebody hundreds of times and they're still alive, right, on the games. but that's not the way in real life. And so here you get a real picture of what happens in war, how bad it is. War is not fun. War isn't anything that you should hope for. That's not something you pursue. You pursue peace. But we have people that think that war is just, oh, let's just go get them, take care of it. Well, there's a time when the Lord leads to do it, and there's a time not to. The problem is today we don't have leaders that can discern the times and what they're supposed to be doing. And so we have these all wicked wars going on that shouldn't be. Anyway, in verse 11 again, and one of Joab's men stood by him and said, He that faileth Joab, and he that is for David, let him go after Joab. And Amasa wallowed in blood in the midst of the highway. And when the man saw that all the people stood still, he removed Amasa out of the highway into the field and cast a cloth upon him. When he saw that everyone that came by him stood still. So nobody would pass that point on the road. They just saw this dead man, the army captain, so to speak, that he's laying there. And so they wouldn't go. So then they drug him out into the field and covered him up. And then, verse 13, when he was removed and off the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. And so they got rid of the obstacle there again to keep people from going. And he went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel. Now think about the soldiers. Think about all these men when they see David having made Amasa the captain of the host. The king made Amasa the captain of the host, and his now second in command kills the one that David just installed. Think about what the troops are thinking. I think there'd be a little confusion there. They'd be wondering, like, what's going on? Who's really in charge here? Well, of course, the ones of Judah knew Joab. All his life, all the things he did. Here, he went on after Joab to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. He went through all the tribes of Israel unto Abel and to Beth Maacah and all the Berites, and they were gathered together and went also after him. So he's picking up people along the way, and now I don't have my pointer here, but anyway, this Abel that's talking about, Abel, Beth Maacah, well, that's the house of, Beth is house, and so that's the house of this place. So that's what they're marking, because there are different places. Like this is the Abel that's way up just below Damascus, right below Libya. And so it's clear up here at Dan. Dan is the farthest north kingdom of Israel that they ever had, right against Lebanon and Syria, Damascus. And so right up here at Dan is where this Abel that it's talking about. And when the Bible talks about from Abel to Beersheba, or Sheba to Abel, or to Dan, Sheba to Dan, they're talking about all Israel. Because down here is Beersheba, below the Dead Sea, and up here is the northernmost part. So this is the southernmost part of Israel. The land grant, this is the northernmost part. And so that's what it's at. Well, they left clear down here just at Jerusalem, and they went all the way up. They chased them all the way up there to the very north extremity of Israel. Just to kind of let you know where we're at here. And so, as he went, he picked up different men. As Sheba, the son of Bichri, as Sheba went, he picked up more men to follow him. He went through all the tribes of Israel, all the way up to Abel, to Beth Maacah, and all the Berites, and they were gathered together and went also after him. They also were following Sheba. Verse 15, they came and besieged him, and Abel of Beth Maacah, they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench. And all the people that were with Joab battled the wall to throw it down. So here's the city wall, and they put up a trench, a guard there so for themselves, and they start battering the wall to knock it down. Just they beat it to death with rocks and stones and whatever they're using to do it till the wall will finally crumble. Well, this would happen, but there was, verse 16 says, there cried a wise woman out of the city, "Hear, hear, say, I pray you, unto Joab, come near hither that I may speak with thee." So here's a woman shouting from the wall saying, "Listen, you soldiers, listen, whoever's there, tell Joab I want to talk to him." Now, how'd she know Joab was the one that was chasing them? Well, she has her information, and anyway, she knew it. And so she calls out. Verse 17, when he was come near unto her, the woman said, "Art thou Joab?" And he answered, "I am he." Then she said unto him, "Hear the words of thine handmaid." And he answered, "I do hear." Then she spake, saying, they were wont to speak in old time. They were known to do this, okay, wont to speak in old time, saying, "They shall surely ask counsel at Abel." And so they ended the matter. Now, old times, she's going way back to the old times, and you'll find during the times of Moses, when they talked about that after the land grant. Look at Deuteronomy 20. Let's go back there and look at that. It's interesting to see this, that this lady had such a knowledge of the books of Moses, of history, that she could come to Joab and tell him about a situation that happened, just to let his mind know where he was at. So in Deuteronomy chapter 20, beginning in verse 10, this is what God said, the laws concerning wars and what they're supposed to do. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. Okay, so they come up against this city, and it says, proclaim peace unto them. See if they will surrender, is what it's asking. Verse 11, it shall be, if it make the answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. So this is the law that God had given to them about this. And when the Lord thy God hath delivered it into thine hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the cattle and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself, and thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of the nation, of these nations. And so all these things, it's telling you what you're supposed to do. And Joab would be under this law, this rule, okay? Verse 16, but of the cities of these people which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth. Supposed to destroy everything. There are certain ones, certain nations, here he gives in verse 17. But thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. So those were the exceptions. They were to be wiped out completely. And God tells you why here in verse 18, that they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against the Lord your God. So this is why they were told to wipe out these entire nations, because they were totally wicked. They were totally in idolatry, following after their gods. And so God had said that. But if it's another nation, not one of these, it's somebody else, a city, and it's given, and it's holding, and you come to it, you need to ask, will you open up peacefully, that we not have to destroy you, okay? If they say no, then you've got license from God to just destroy them, as he said. back in 2 Samuel 20. So the woman is speaking. Said, they shall surely ask counsel at Abel, and so they ended the matter. In other words, are you going to ask for peace here? You're here. Are you going to just destroy the city and all of us? Or are you going to ask for peace? What are the conditions of peace? In verse 19, I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. Thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why wilt thou swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? So she's a city in Israel. You can't come against us like this. You have to ask if we'll have peace or not. And if we open up to you, then we're all safe. But if we don't, then you can destroy us. That's basically what she's saying, under what God has told them and taught them. Verse 20, and Joab answered and said, far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. He's saying, well, I don't want to do that. Let's just have peace. The matter is not so, but a man of Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri by name, hath lifted up his hand against the king, even against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said unto Joab, behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. And so it's either the city gets torn down or you give me Sheba. That's what the plans were. Because Sheba was a man of Belial that was tearing the kingdom away from God's chosen king. Verse 22, then the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom. So she goes and calls the city council, town meeting. Let's have a town meeting here in her wisdom. And she says, listen, do you all want to die? Or should we give him Sheba? Well, against the whole city, Sheba didn't have a chance, no matter how many warriors he had. And were they going to stand when all they wanted was Sheba? Because they were just some that tagged along out of remorse, out of whatever the reasons that they had against David. And so the woman in her wisdom called, and they cut off the head of Sheba the son of Bichri and cast it out to Joab. And he blew a trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his tent. And Joab returned to Jerusalem unto the king. So it was done. And the evil man, the son of Belial there, Sheba, was killed by a wise woman's thinking and realizing that God's way isn't to destroy a city in Israel. God's way is to have peace. And so she made that happen. Verse 23, now Joab was over all the host of Israel, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerethites and over the Pelethites. This is now, the rest of this chapter is just giving, okay, the kingdom's back under David. This is the way it is. It's back to the way it was running before. And so we'll just keep on going, is what it's talking about. And so these last several verses here in chapter 20, now Joab was over all the host of Israel. So again, we see Joab as the leader. He is now the general again. Amasa, and of course his son, his brother, followed after him. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Cherethites and over the Pelethites. So you had these two groups of people that followed out of Judah, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was the one that was in charge of them. Then Adoram was over the tribute, and so all that, the taxes, the tribute that came in, and Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. So there we see the scribe, the recorder. Verse 25, and Sheva was scribe, and Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. So you have the scribes, you have the priests, and that's back to Zadok and Abiathar. Remember, they were the faithful ones even during the rebellion of Absalom, the ones that put their own lives in peril to get word to David about what was happening in Jerusalem. and they were by the one boy that one time, but God delivered them from that. So the priests, Zadok and Abiathar were the priests, and Ira, also the Jerite, was a chief ruler about David. So there's the lineup as David's back on the throne now, and the second rebellion was put down quickly. Now, that's what Ahithophel had wanted Absalom to do to David, if you recall. Ahithophel wanted him to go right now and wipe out, just get David, and then his kingdom's done. They didn't take that advice from Ahithophel, and of course, because of that, he knew the kingdom was not going to go under Absalom. It was going to go back to David, and then he went out and committed suicide because he didn't want to be killed by David coming back to power, really. I believe that's the whole reason for that. So we have the restored kingdom as one, and then we'll see a little bit more here before in David's last years, and we'll see how the new king comes and follows him, his son, on the throne. So that'll be coming up. Okay, any comments? Something that I find this so how the in-depth study of David has been phenomenal to me. Just really to see how the Lord worked with him. Yes, he was a sinner, and he did bad things, but he was God's chosen, and he did a lot of good things too. So, yes.
It's just the one thing that struck me in going through all of this, and it's a modern day term now used from this in chapter or verse 20 is far be it. I mean, there's a lot of politicians that use that today to kind of ease people's minds.
Right.
And every time I hear that, I just go, whoa, hey Lord, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Because this is not right.
In verse 20 there, the far be it, far be it. Now, you want to remember Job's background through his life as a general, and then for him to say that to this woman, far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. He was a swallower-upper and a destroyer. And so, you can easily say that, oh, far be it, you're speaking right, so we don't want to do that, so just give us the head of Sheba. And she saw that it was taken care of. But yes, politicians use all kinds of deception in different ways to do their things, whether right or wrong. It's really bad out there. Be discerning. Amen. Let God lead. Okay, take a break now and we'll continue on.